Bear with me, y'all. I'm trying to stay strong for the homeboy Nip right now. Stay down with me. Stay down with me.
The internet is going crazy right now because footage from Nipsey Hussle's funeral just resurfaced, and it's hitting different in 2025. Snoop Dogg stood up there at Staples Center and delivered one of the rawest, most emotional eulogies hip-hop has ever witnessed. Let's break this down. The viral resurgence. Now, before we even get into the meat and potatoes of this whole situation, we gotta address the elephant in the room, and that elephant is the question that everybody and their mama has been asking across every single social media platform known to mankind. Why is Snoop Dogg's footage from Nipsey's funeral trending again in 2025? What in the world is happening right now that has the entire hip-hop community looking back at this moment 6 whole years after it originally went down? Let's rewind things. Ayo, let me set the scene for y'all real quick. April 11th, 2019, the Staples Center in Los Angeles, California. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Staples Center ain't just some random arena. This is the house that Kobe built. This is where championships are won. This is where legends are celebrated. And on this particular day, an estimated 21,000 attendees packed into this building to say goodbye to another legend, Nipsey Hussle. Now understand something, fam. Getting into this memorial service wasn't easy. Free tickets were distributed, but the demand was astronomical. People lined up for hours, some overnight, just for a chance to get inside. The streets were flooded with mourners who couldn't get in, but wanted to be near the energy. The whole situation was giving funeral, but it was also giving concert. It was giving celebration. It was giving exactly what Nipsey would have wanted. The marathon continues energy. Inside that arena, the setup was immaculate. A floral-adorned coffin, large projections of Hussle in pink and blue tones, and musical elements that turned parts of the event into a concert-like atmosphere. Performers included Stevie Wonder, yeah, that Stevie Wonder, who sang and called for gun control. Jhené Aiko blessed the stage, and speakers delivered emotional tributes that had the whole building in their feelings. But here's the thing that really made this whole event hit different. This wasn't just about mourning a rapper. Nah, a letter from former President Barack Obama commended Hussle's vision for underserved neighborhoods. Let that sink in for a second. A former president of the United States took time out of his day to write a letter honoring a man from the streets of Crenshaw. That tells you everything you need to know about what Nipsey meant to the culture, to his community, and to the world. And after the service, it wasn't over, not by a long shot. A 25.5-mile procession wound through South Los Angeles, including Inglewood and Watts, with crowds lining streets and gathering at landmarks like the Watts Towers. Security was provided by the Nation of Islam. The whole city came out to pay respects. Streets that were normally at war with each other stood side by side in peace. Gang leaders, who hadn't spoken in years, were seen together. The impact was real, and it was lasting. Now, let me paint the picture for y'all so you can truly visualize what we're dealing with here. A TikTok post from September 2025 promoting exclusive footage from the event has accumulated over 13,000 likes and hundreds upon hundreds of comments. That's a significant number of people engaging with content that's technically 6 years old, which just goes to show you how powerful and how timeless Nipsey's impact truly was and continues to be to this very day. But here's where it gets even more interesting, fam. Another viral moment came through in March 2025, featuring tribute elements tied to Nipsey's legacy, including community memorials in Crenshaw and scenes that tug at your heartstrings in ways you didn't even know were possible. These compilations are bringing together personal recollections, archival footage, and modern commentary to create something that feels both nostalgic and fresh at the same time. Speaking of Snoop's words, let's talk about what actually went down at that memorial service, because the details of what transpired on that day are nothing short of legendary. Nipsey Hussle's Celebration of Life memorial service took place on April 11th, 2019 at the Staples Center in Los Angeles. And when I tell you that the entire city of Los Angeles came to a complete standstill, I am not exaggerating in the slightest. We're talking about an estimated 21,000 attendees packing into that arena to pay their respects to a man who had become so much more than just a rapper. He had transformed into a symbol of hope, a beacon of entrepreneurship, and a living, breathing testament to what's possible when you refuse to let your circumstances define your destiny. Celebrities, politicians, community members, gang affiliates from various sets, regular, everyday people who had been touched by Nipsey's music and message. They all came together under one roof to celebrate the life of Ermias Joseph Asghedom. But amidst all the tributes and all the performances and all the tears being shed, there was one moment that stood out above everything else, and that was when Snoop Dogg, the OG himself, the Dogfather, the Long Beach legend, stepped up to that podium and proceeded to deliver what many consider to be one of the most authentic and heartfelt eulogies in hip-hop history.
It's a tough one right here, man. First of all, I want to thank y'all for allowing me the opportunity to speak here today. It's a real honor to be able to appear here and to show love on behalf of my friend, my brother, a great man, a great leader, a great father, a great teacher, and a great friend, Nipsey Hussle.
Now that right there, that introduction alone, tells you everything you need to know about the relationship between these two men. Snoop didn't just come up there to say a few nice words and call it a day. Nah, he came up there to bare his soul, to share his truth, and to honor his brother in the most genuine way possible. And the way he acknowledged Nipsey not just as a musician, but as a leader, a father, and a teacher, that's the kind of respect that you can't fake, the kind of respect that only comes from genuine love and admiration. The service itself was followed by something that further demonstrated just how deeply Nipsey had impacted his community. A 25-mile procession wound through South Los Angeles, passing through neighborhoods like Inglewood and Watts, with thousands upon thousands of people lining the streets to catch one final glimpse of their fallen hero. It was a scene that you had to witness to believe. People crying, people cheering, people holding up signs, people playing Nipsey's music at full volume from their cars and their speakers. And perhaps most significantly, the event inspired gang leaders to broker truces, echoing the unity that emerged after the 1992 Rodney King riots. Crips and Bloods standing together side by side, united in their grief over the loss of a man who had dedicated so much of his life to promoting peace and unity. That's the power that Nipsey had, and that's the legacy that continues to resonate to this very day. Now let's dive deep into what Snoop actually said during that eulogy, because every single word that came out of that man's mouth was pure gold, dripping with authenticity and raw emotion. The raw truth from the Dogg father. One of the first things Snoop did was acknowledge Lauren London, Nipsey's partner and the mother of his son, and the way he did it was absolutely beautiful. Listen to this.
And I want to start off by showing some love to Lauren and Nipsey's children. I want to send Lauren a lot of love for being the beloved queen to our king. See, what we lose focus on is that every real black man needs a real black woman in his life. Every time I would see Nip and Lauren out, they reminded me of me and my wife. It was like black excellence. You love to see that.
Y'all hear that? Black excellence. That's how Snoop described what Nipsey and Lauren represented to him. A shining example of love, partnership, and success within the black community. And the fact that he compared their relationship to his own marriage with his wife shows you just how highly he regarded what they had built together. But Snoop wasn't just there to pay respects. He was there to make promises, to extend his hand in support, to let Lauren and the family know that they would never, ever be alone in their grief. He told Lauren directly,
"So, with that being said, Lauren, my wife, my family, my kids, we're here for you. Wherever you need, whatever you need. If you need a shoulder to cry on, if you need a hug, if you just need to get away, we're here for you. We love you, baby girl. We always have and we always will." Bear with me, y'all. I'm trying to stay strong for the homeboy Nip right now. Stay down with me.
Man, when he said, "Bear with me, y'all, I'm trying to stay strong for the homeboy Nip right now," you could hear the crack in his voice. You could feel the weight of emotion pressing down on him. This is Snoop Dogg we're talking about, a man who's been in the game for over 3 decades, a man who's seen and experienced more than most people could imagine. And here he was, struggling to hold back tears as he honored his fallen brother. Then Snoop turned his attention to Nipsey's father, and what he said next was one of the most powerful moments of the entire eulogy. According to reports from ABC7, Snoop spoke about how he would visit Nipsey's store without security, just pulling up solo in the morning, and he would see the pride radiating from Nipsey's father's face.
It was always amazing when I would go to the store, because I would go to the store on my own solo, no security, pull up in the morning, Pops being there, and I could just see the look on his face that he was so proud of his boys for doing something in the community and doing something positive that was inspiring. And Pops, I'd look at your face every time I come in the store and I just sing the joy, and I just want you to know that you may have lost a son, but you picked up another son in me.
You may have lost a son, but you picked up another son in me. That line right there hit different. That's not something you just say. That's a commitment. That's a promise. That's Snoop essentially telling Nipsey's father that he's adopting him as family moving forward. In the streets, in the culture, that kind of declaration carries weight. It means something. It's not just words. It's a bond that transcends blood. Now, here's where Snoop started getting into the stories, and this is where his eulogy truly became legendary. He shared the hilarious tale of how he first encountered Nipsey's music, and the way he told it had the entire Staples Center laughing through their tears. According to XXL Magazine's coverage of the memorial speech, Snoop recounted how Nipsey first pushed up on him with his tape, and unlike most rappers who would say, "Hey dog, listen to my music, I can make you $1 million," Nipsey's approach was entirely different. That right there encapsulates everything Nipsey was about: independence, self-reliance, and the unwavering belief that he was going to make it on his own terms. He wasn't looking for handouts. He wasn't looking for someone to put him on. He just wanted his music to be heard, and he had the confidence and the vision to know that if people just listened, they would recognize the greatness. And then Snoop told the story that had everybody crying and laughing at the same time, the story about how he actually discovered Nipsey's music. According to People Magazine's coverage, Snoop described their connection as being like a magnet coming together because they shared a spirit of love. Despite both coming from Crip-affiliated backgrounds, their relationship was never about gang politics or street credentials. It was about genuine love, mutual respect, and a shared vision for what they could accomplish.
But one thing that me and Nip had was a kind spirit. We had that spirit of love, of, like Sam said, just magnating. Like people magnate to Snoop Dogg and they magnate towards Nipsey. It's like when we met each other, it was like a magnet coming together. We had the same spirit. But what was crazy was Nip mentality was stronger than a rapper that's been in the game for 15 years.
Think about what Snoop just said there. Nip's mentality was stronger than a rapper that's been in the game for 15 years. Coming from Snoop Dogg, who at that point had been in the industry for over 25 years, that's one of the highest compliments you can pay to another artist. He was essentially saying that Nipsey, despite being younger and less established, had a mental fortitude and a vision that surpassed even the most seasoned veterans in the game. Now we gotta address something that's been floating around the internet, because you know how it is. Whenever something goes viral, the conspiracy theories and the controversial takes start emerging from every corner of the web, and the resurgence of this funeral footage has been no exception to that rule. The legacy, the controversies, and the marathon that continues. Snoop and Nipsey collaborated on multiple tracks, with Snoop crediting Nipsey's music for sparking their connection. Their joint efforts included songs that blended their lyrical styles, often addressing street life, resilience, and personal growth. One of their most meaningful collaborations was Question Number 1 from 2016, produced by Mike and Keys. The video depicted them navigating gang-infested neighborhoods, serving as ambassadors to the streets that shaped them. Both artists explored the harsh realities and ripple effects of gang affiliations in LA. It was raw, it was real, it was exactly what the streets needed to hear. Other notable collaborations included Upside Down, Gangsta's Life, and various mixtape features that showcased their chemistry. Snoop viewed Nipsey as a protege who embodied independence, and their musical partnership reflected that mentorship dynamic. Some of the 2025 content that's been circulating uses some pretty provocative titles to get clicks and views. For example, there's a YouTube video titled "New Footage of Nipsey Hussle's Affiliates Trying to Kill Snoop Dogg Goes Viral" that's been making the rounds. Now, before y'all get all riled up, let me break down what's actually going on with this type of content. The research indicates that this particular video, which has accumulated over 4,500 views, primarily chronicles Snoop's past affiliates like Suge Knight, Daz Dillinger, and Tupac Shakur, detailing feuds, legal battles, and historical drama from the death row era of the 1990s. It doesn't actually present any new footage related to Nipsey's funeral, or any actual attempts on Snoop's life by Nipsey's people. In other words, it's what we in the internet streets call clickbait, using sensational titles to capitalize on the ongoing interest in West Coast rap drama. There have also been some gossip channel claims suggesting tension between Snoop and Nipsey's family, with certain videos alleging that Nipsey's brother Black Sam accused Snoop of lying about their closeness. But here's what the evidence actually shows. These claims largely stem from unsubstantiated YouTube content and social media speculation, lacking primary evidence and contrasting sharply with Snoop's documented tributes and the extensive collaboration history between the two artists. Now, we can't talk about Nipsey without talking about what made him so unique, what made his death hit so hard, and why people are still mourning him 6 years later. According to research compiled from Reddit discussions, Quora analyses, and various social media reactions, the reason Nipsey's death was so impactful was because a black man who started at a disadvantage managed to become successful enough to reinvest in his own community. He wasn't just rapping about the struggle, he was actively working to change it. Nipsey died a millionaire trying to help kids leave the streets. That's what one Reddit user wrote in the memorial thread, and that single sentence captures so much of what made him special. He could have taken his money and left Crenshaw behind. He could have moved to the hills and forgotten where he came from, but he didn't. He stayed, he invested, he employed, he inspired. And then came the moment that gave this whole eulogy its most memorable line, the line that's been quoted and requoted millions of times since that day. For God so loved the world that he gave us a good crip, taking one of the most famous verses from the Bible and flipping it to honor a gang member who became a beacon of hope. That's the kind of poetic, profound, perfectly crafted line that only someone like Snoop could deliver. It acknowledged Nipsey's reality, his roots, his affiliation, while simultaneously elevating him to almost spiritual status. In another interview, Snoop was asked about the losses the West Coast has endured: Kobe, Tupac, Nipsey, and which one hit him the hardest.
West Coast has had some tough losses. I mean, Kobe, Pac, Nipsey. Is there anyone particularly that stands out to you as kind of the hardest one of those to swallow?
I'd probably say Nipsey and Nate Dogg.
Oh, Nate Dogg too, yeah.
Yeah, just because it just felt like they had so much to do.
Yeah.
You know, same with Pac as well. I feel like he didn't even get a chance to finish.
It just felt like they had so much to do. That's the tragedy of Nipsey's death distilled into a single sentence. He was only 33 years old. He had just received his first Grammy nomination for Victory Lap. He had plans for his community, for his family, for his music, for his businesses. And then, on March 31st, 2019, outside his Marathon clothing store, he was shot and killed over what began as a conversation about snitching rumors. Eric Holder was convicted of first-degree murder in 2022 and sentenced to 60 years to life in prison in 2023. Justice was served, at least in the legal sense, but nothing can bring Nipsey back. Nothing can give him those years that were stolen from him, from his children, from Lauren, from his community, from hip-hop. Now, it wasn't just the hip-hop community that felt the loss of Nipsey. His impact reached far beyond music. Even legends from other arenas felt his energy. Mike Tyson, yeah, that Mike Tyson, spoke about Nipsey with Snoop, and what he said was profound.
Snoop, let's talk about the brother Nipsey. I never had the opportunity to meet him.
Man, Nipsey Hussle, man,
Tell me about
that's my dear brother right there.
Oh,
Nipsey
brother.
He's a South Central legend.
Hear that.
He was a businessman. He was a leader, a teacher, a father, an entrepreneur, all of the above.
Mike Tyson never even met Nipsey, but he called him his dear brother. That's the power of what Nipsey represented. His energy, his mission, his movement. It touched people who never even shook his hand. It's like a god. That's what Mike Tyson said. And Snoop agreed. We walk amongst gods and angels, and we need to recognize that. Nipsey was one of those angels walking among us, doing the work, spreading the message until he was called home. So as we wrap up, remember this. Nipsey Hussle's death evoked widespread grief because he was seen as a symbol of hope, entrepreneurship, and community upliftment in South Los Angeles. His passing fostered unity among rival gangs and inspired ongoing peace talks. His legacy continues through his music, his businesses, his family, and the countless lives he touched. But here's the beautiful thing about legacy. It doesn't die. The marathon continues. That phrase that Nipsey made famous, that mantra that guided his life and his work, it lives on in every young entrepreneur who decides to invest in their community instead of abandoning it. It lives on in every artist who chooses independence over the traditional label system. It lives on in every person who watches these clips, these speeches, these tributes, and feels inspired to do something positive with their own life. And that's why these videos keep going viral. That's why people keep watching Snoop's eulogy 6 years later. That's why the TikTok compilations accumulate thousands of likes, because Nipsey's message still resonates. His story still inspires. His legacy still matters. The marathon continues. Share your thoughts on Nipsey in the comments and tell me what you think. And don't forget to click on the cards for more stories.